What's going on, everybody? Top 10 Pokemon back, and if you're like me, you've noticed lately that alt art Pokemon cards haven't been doing as well as they were 8 months to a year ago, especially the graded copies. I've seen videos come and go of people talking about the demise of this alt art card or that alt art, and the fact that some of them are plummeting in value, so I thought we would reevaluate the top 10 most valuable or expensive alt art Pokemon cards in today's market. So I'm going to take the data from my videos that I put out 8 months to a year ago, and we'll be comparing them to the sales of today. Folks, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching my videos. I appreciate it. If you would please consider using my eBay affiliate link, it would support the channel tremendously. If you go to buy anything on eBay, click that link. It helps out so much. For continuity purposes, we'll be going with English cards, and we'll be going by the ones graded by PSA because not every card here has like a black label example that I can look up or a CGC 10 pristine, so we'll be going with PSA for this particular list. Let's get started with the number 10 most expensive alt art Pokemon card as of right now. It is this Blaziken VMAX from Chilling Reign that in PSA 10 has sold most recently for about $285 plus $10 shipping. Now this card's value has not declined all that much. About a year ago, this card was selling for about $331, so about $40-ish shy of what it was selling for 8 months to a year ago. Not too bad for the number 10 spot. The number 9 most expensive alternate art card is the Gardevoir and Sylveon GX from Unbroken Bonds that in PSA 10 sells in today's market for about $330, whereas 8 months to a year ago it was selling for $400. So it looks like it's about $70 cheaper nowadays. But still not too bad compared to some of these cards coming up, so stay tuned. The number 8 most valuable alt art comes from Evolving Skies in this Rayquaza VMAX that in PSA 10 has sold most recently in auction for about $350, whereas 8 months ago it was selling for about $475. So a bit more of a significant decrease for this card of about $125. Still not too bad yet. Could be doing a little bit better. This is the number 8 most valuable card. The number 7 most valuable alt art is the Gengar VMAX from Fusion Strike, or as it's been dubbed by some of my viewers, the Anus Gengar, that right now sells for about $391. And this card is actually up from where it was 8 months to a year ago, as it used to sell for about $335. So this is the first and perhaps only card on the list that has actually made gains over the past year. This is the number 7 most valuable alt art card. Coming in number 6 is where we start seeing some pretty heavy declines in value. We have the Wailord Magikarp alt art from Team Up in PSA 10 has sold most recently for around $410, whereas 8 months ago, it was selling for $848, so pretty much cut in half in terms of value of the PSA 10 copy. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? The number 5 most expensive alt art card on our list is the Arceus, Dialga, and Palkia GX from Cosmic Eclipse that in PSA 10 has sold for $445, whereas last year it was more like $490. So this one compared to the Magikarp and Wailord has maintained its value quite well as the number 5 most expensive. Coming in number 4, we have the alt art Giratina V from Lost Origin. And I had high hopes for this card. I thought for sure it was going to be getting closer to $1,000, but it ended up going the opposite direction. The most recent price for a PSA 10 was for about $550, whereas 8 months ago it was selling for a neat $800. So definitely a heftier decline in the value of this card, much like the Magikarp and Wailord. It's still the number 4 most valuable card on our list. Getting down to the final 3, and maybe the worst offender on our list, is the Gengar and Mimikyu GX from Team Up. This alt art in PSA 10 has sold most recently for about $651, but let me tell you what, folks. About 8 months ago, this card was selling for $1,475 as a PSA 10. This card was the very definition of hyped up for whatever reason. It's unfortunate because this is a fantastic card, as most of these alt arts are. This is still the number 3 most expensive one. The number 2 most expensive alt art is the notorious Moonbryon VMAX from Evolving Skies. Always used to make the number 1 spot on my lists. Today it takes second place as a PSA 10 has sold most recently for $870. And this card has had a wild history. Back in June, this card was selling raw for almost $600. And then we had seen a sale. I mean, it was almost selling for about $1,200 as a PSA 10. But still not too bad considering how many PSA 10s there are. I'm not exactly sure how many. I will put on the screen here. I could use a refresher myself, but this is the number 2 most expensive alternate art Pokemon card on the market today. Folks, as you know, no top 10 list is truly complete without a few honorable mention sales, so let's rifle through these. Here we have the Dragonite V from Evolving Skies that has recently sold for about $172. Here we have the Sleepy Tyranitar V from Battle Styles, perhaps the only card sustaining Battle Styles nowadays, sells for about $180. Here we have the Galarian Moltres V from Chilling Reign that sells for $182. Here is the Slowpoke and Psyduck GX card that sells for $193. Here we have a Sylveon VMAX, sells for $202.50, along with this Charizard V from Brilliant Stars that is sold for $204. It always amazes me when a Charizard does not even crack the top 10 list. Here is a Leafeon VMAX in PSA 10 that sold for $210, along with this Espeon VMAX from Fusion Strike that sold for $227. Here is the Lugia V from Silver Tempest that's most recently sold for $267. And then here we have a Raichu and a Alolan Raichu GX from Unified Minds that is sold for $280. And let's not forget the Mega Sableye and Tyranitar GX from Unified Minds as well, that is sold for $286. Bringing us to our number 1 most expensive alt art. And this one, like the Moonbryon, has had a wild ride over the past year. It is the Latios GX from Team Up that is most recently sold as a PSA 10 for about $1,600. Now, about a year ago, folks, this card was selling as a Gem Mint 10 for only $717. And then a few months after that, it shot up to the moon, selling for about $2,750. Absolute insanity. Whereas nowadays, you can pick one up for around $1,600. That concludes the list for today, folks. Are these alt art cards crashing? No. Crashing is a bit of a heavy term to be using for these prices. They have definitely come down in value. We are kind of at a slow point in the market right now. So a majority of the cards on this list I think have held their value very well considering the population of their graded examples has gone up tremendously. Let me know what you think of these cards in the comments below. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. I really appreciate it. That's all I got. Catch you all on my next one.